I told you guys that's what I got. That's what I wanted to do, and you know, just so the fans like they have something to look up to. That's look forward to. That's why I give you guys like my breakdowns, like what I'm trying to do, like what are my plans. And
I think the biggest challenge would be Usyk. Well, that's something like out of this world.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? But you know, but that's the only guy that I think that would be fucking crazy.
well, if there's an opportunity to fight for another belt at cruiserweight, then that's what we're gonna do. Like I said, I just want to chase greatness and capture more world titles. I just want to be that type of fighter that always took the biggest and craziest chances.
Looking for the post fight.
You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all good. You know what I mean? I'm just very happy with this, bro. I'm happy to continue to challenge myself. You know, the harder the challenge, the harder I push myself. So at the end of the day, this is what I'm here for. I'm not here to take no easy rides and fuck. You know, if you don't put yourself in those challenges and those moments of stress, you never know how good you can be or how great you can become. So wherever the hardest fight is at, that's where I want to be at. And I made that decision a long, long time ago. You know, these moments are scary, but at the end of the day, this is what I'm.
Tyson highlighted Benavidez's dominant wins and fearless approach inside the ring as signs of a fighter pushing toward elite legacy status. He made it clear that his goal is to deliver the kind of fantasy fights fans truly want to see, stepping into the biggest challenges available in boxing.
Benavidez's performance tonight. The next thing for Benavidez is what you want to see him unify the division, go down to light heavyweight.
I want him to be where he feels comfortable at.
Did you talk to him before the fight, and if you did, what advice did you give him?
Yes, he's a great fighter. He knows what to do. I never give him any advice, but he's great.
Dan Canabio tweeted on X that any talk of Oleksandr Usyk versus David Benavidez fight right now is silly, adding that just because Turkey wants it doesn't mean it has to happen. He pointed out that Benavidez already has other major options, including fights with Bivol and Beterbiev, and noted that a move to heavyweight wouldn't be considered for years. Meanwhile, Jose Benavidez Sr. said David Benavidez's toughest possible fight would be against Usyk, calling it an out-of-this-world fantasy matchup in terms of skill, size, and timing.
Nobody can beat David. Right now, this is the monster era, David Benavidez era, and we're going to take advantage, and we're going to work hard, and we're going to fight anybody, whoever thinks that they're the best.
Is that why the biggest challenge might be going up to heavyweight and maybe facing it?
Yeah, that could be the reason. You know, at the end of the day, you know, he's beating everybody, every division, so might as well go to heavyweight, you know. But that would be great, man. You know, now that I remember, now that you said that.
Jose Benavidez Sr. added that David Benavidez is currently in his prime, dominating opponents and beating everyone placed in front of him, further strengthening his case as one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing right now.
Another big challenge. That's another topic, you know, because he is the fucking pound-for-pound best.
I mean, you spoke about Roy Jones Jr. He went up to heavyweight to find a challenge.
Yeah, no,
right?
and I think that's what I'm saying. You know, like, I think he's really young right now. The weight is not there, you know. He's gonna go down to 175. I mean, we're not even there develop at cruiserweight, you know. So we're gonna be playing in those two divisions, cruiserweight. Who wants to fight? Let's go. I was thinking of Petaya, but you know he's with Sufa now. I don't know what they have with all these organizations. You know, I don't know.
Do you think that's making it difficult to make the fights that people want to see now with a Zuffa coming into play and a lot of people signing with him?
These people, they don't get along with nobody. How are we gonna make those fights? They should get along with everybody, bro. I mean, it's another title. Let's get those titles, those super titles too. Let's get all the fucking titles, but they gotta get along, you know. There's nothing I can say or do to change everybody's mind.
David Morrell warned David Benavidez about a potential fight with Oleksandr Usyk, saying it would be a completely different level of challenge and extremely difficult stylistically. He even laughed off the idea of the matchup happening anytime soon in real boxing terms, suggesting it belongs more to fantasy than current reality.
It's different. It's different. I mean, remember Benavidez 175 go to the 200 pounds, not the 200 and heavyweight. So it's different. No. I mean, I don't know. You know, maybe it's a good business. Maybe, but no, I know it's a good business. You know, but that's crazy. You know, you can put money first and your life. You know, so it's a great opportunity for him. you know, for the business, but not for career.
Robert Garcia stated that David Benavidez has what it takes to become a heavyweight champion, adding that with the right preparation and performance at elite level, he could even defeat Oleksandr Usyk in the future. He believes Benavidez's style and physicality could translate successfully into bigger divisions over time.
Against Usyk, what do you think?
Give him a couple more fights at Cruiser, and give him, I don't know how much more Usyk's gonna fight.
I agree.
But give me 2 more fights, 2 or 3 more fights.
Let him be undisputed at cruiserweight. Pick up 2 more belts there.
2 more fights, and then go to heavyweight and fucking Benavidez beats Usyk.
Bobby Wardley warned that there is a significant difference at heavyweight for David Benavidez, doubting any future fight with Oleksandr Usyk due to the size, power, and overall division gap, making the matchup highly unlikely in the near future.
Dominant and devastating fashion. Turkey's mentioned that he wants to try and make a fight with him and Oleksandr Usyk. If David does move up to heavyweight, a name which you'd hold interesting, or do you think that's a bridge too far for him?
Yeah, it might be a step too far. There's a difference. There's a large difference between cruiserweight, well, from where he was before to then jump to cruiserweight, there's a difference. And then to go from cruiserweight to heavyweight, there was an even bigger gap as well. So, yeah, that doesn't seem like anything in the realms of possibility.
Max Kellerman debated whether David Benavidez is truly ready for Oleksandr Usyk, pointing out that Usyk has already beaten massive heavyweight opponents and consistently deals with faster, highly skilled fighters. He questioned whether Benavidez's style would be enough against that level of elite experience and adaptability.
He's beating these giants, these behemoths, where he can see the punches coming, where he has a speed, and
he's always faster.
He's always faster. What about a dude like this?
I think that it's a good fight because Usyk is not a big heavyweight. You know, he's a guy who's at cruiserweight who went up to heavyweight. He's not the biggest. He's not beating guys, you know, by just overpowering them. He's beating them by skill. Right. So I think that this is a great fight because it's skill versus skill, and with David would be his more natural self.
And Benavidez, Teo would have the faster hands.
Yes.
Who do you like in that one? Could Benavidez challenging Usyk for the heavyweight championship of the world as soon as next year? Who do you like?
The fans are going to win on that one for sure. But I got to say, the way Benavidez is looking, I think that, got to lean towards him.
He could do, think about, hold on. Wait, what did I just hear? Yeah. Think about what we just said on this.
However, Max Kellerman also suggested that David Benavidez's speed, power, and recent performances make a potential clash with Oleksandr Usyk a compelling and competitive matchup, despite the stylistic and physical challenges involved.
Has to be in the conversation, considering he did it at 200 pounds for fastest combination puncher of all time. Devin is saying that's a hell of a fight, him and Usyk. Teo just came out and said he'd lean Benavidez against the heavyweight champ.
And also, Usyk is turning 40 next year?
Yeah, he's 38.
Okay, 38, 39, 40, that's close. That's 40 years old, that matters. And the speed thing, Usyk's always fighting guys he's faster than, quicker than. Now, it's not gonna be like that. I gotta go with David.
Only thing about Usyk, though, people like, he is a small heavyweight, but small heavyweight today means you're 6'2.5", 230. Yeah, that's a small heavyweight. Yeah. That's like bigger than George Foreman in his prime. Like, that's actually a big dude. Benavidez would come into that fight, what, 205, 210? Something like that. He would be giving...
Ade Oladipo discussed the potential path for David Benavidez before a possible clash with the great Oleksandr Usyk, comparing it to a video game journey where a fighter must defeat several dangerous opponents before reaching the final boss. He said fans often rush the idea of Benavidez versus Usyk, but realistically it may not happen until 2027. According to him, Benavidez would likely need 2 major fights in 2026 to prepare for that level. With names like Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev mentioned as possible elite tests, Oladipo stressed that both represent extremely difficult challenges. Bivol's movement, boxing IQ, and ring control make him a stylistic nightmare, while Beterbiev brings size, power, southpaw angles, and relentless pressure.
Talent, he's unbeaten, he's a superstar, he has everything. But we are talking about the great Oleksandr Usyk here. I don't know if you guys used to play Street Fighter. I used to play Street Fighter a lot. And the final boss was Bison. But before you get to the final bosses, you do have to go through a few other big dogs as well. You have to go through Blanca. You have to go through Sagat. You know what I'm saying? You have to go through these guys. And if you're David Benavidez, before you get to the final boss, Oleksandr Usyk, you have to go through a few people. And I guess, look, that's maybe what Turkey means. He's not saying Benavidez versus Usyk now. He is saying 2027. So that probably means 2 more fights in 2026. Those 2 more fights, hopefully, in some way, shape or form, are Opetaya and Bivol. And I guess if you go through, I would prefer, you know what I'd prefer? And this is difficult because it means going up and down in weight. I would prefer next to be Bivol and then Opetaya.
Ade Oladipo added that if David Benavidez could defeat both Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, then a fight with Oleksandr Usyk would become more realistic. However, he doubted it would be easy, stressing that neither opponent is a stepping stone at the elite level. Oladipo acknowledged Benavidez's key strengths, his hand speed, high-volume punching, and ability to overwhelm opponents with combinations, as seen in recent performances. Still, he concluded that Usyk is on another level entirely, praising his intelligence, adaptability, and elite skill set, calling him one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. In the end, he described Benavidez as a special talent, but emphasized that the path to Usyk requires patience and victories over elite opposition first.
That's a big problem for a lot of these heavyweights. So look, I'm not going to get excited and say he's ready for the great Oleksandr Usyk yet. Oleksandr Usyk is still very, 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 very good. Very much at the top of his game. One of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He's a big guy now as well. He really fills into that 230-pound frame. And he's not like these guys. No disrespect to anyone that Benavidez has beat. Oleksandr Usyk's brain is different. Like, this guy is like one of the smartest fighters out there as well as one of the best. And when you combine the two, it creates the great Oleksandr Usyk. So I wouldn't think of doing that fight yet. But if Benavidez does come up against a Bivol and does come up against an Opetaya and runs through both of those, then who are we to kind of say he's not ready for the great Oleksandr Usyk? But let's chill out. I mean, let's chill out. Even Bivol, even Opetaya above, Yard and Morel and Zerdo. Like, these guys I think are much better than those 3 that I just mentioned. So there is work for him to do, but so far so good for Benavidez. I mean, we are really talking about a special.
The prospect of Oleksandr Usyk facing David Benavidez in a potential 2027 heavyweight championship bout is intriguing, but it raises serious questions about weight, class, and competitive balance. Benavidez began his career at 168 pounds and has steadily moved up through divisions, first to light heavyweight, then cruiserweight, where he recently captured titles with a knockout win over Gilberto Ramirez. His ability to adapt across weight classes is impressive, but stepping into heavyweight presents an entirely different challenge. Usyk, meanwhile, is a natural technician at heavyweight with an elite amateur pedigree and professional victories over top names such as Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora, Daniel Dubois, and Tyson Fury. These are fighters who hit harder than Benavidez, yet Usyk consistently absorbed their power and prevailed. That experience highlights the clear gap in size, physicality, and elite heavyweight experience between the two men.
Oleksandr Usyk versus David Benavidez for the heavyweight championship in 2027. It goes on to say, Benavidez moved up to cruiserweight Saturday and won 2 titles with a KO victory over Zerdo Ramirez. Usyk returns on May 23rd against Rico Verhoeven at the Pyramid in Giza. So that is apparently what Turki Al-Sheikh is looking to do. Now, it's not the first time we've heard Turki, and actually not the first time we've heard him mention Dave Benavidez with a bit of a head-scratching fight, because Benavidez obviously came up from started at 168 pounds, went to 175, and now is fighting at 200 pounds. But Benavidez has spoken about the fact that he can still do 175 pounds. He was only 196 pounds the weight and 4 pounds under the weight limit, so that implies that he made it very comfortably. At heavyweight, now look, I've got no doubt that on Saturday night, Benavidez probably entered the ring north of 200 pounds. How much so? Maybe 205, maybe 210, there.
David Benavidez's hand speed and combination punching are undeniable strengths, but at heavyweight those attributes alone may not be enough. Oleksandr Usyk has already faced fast-handed opponents and consistently neutralized them with elite footwork, timing, and ring IQ. The real issue is power. Benavidez simply does not carry the same knockout threat as established heavyweight contenders. While promoter Turki Al-Sheikh has floated the idea of this matchup, it feels more like a spectacle than pure sporting logic. A more realistic and compelling route for Benavidez would be against Dimitri Bivol at 175 pounds, where both styles could create a high-level technical contest. Usyk, meanwhile, still has meaningful heavyweight options including Fabio Wardley and other rising contenders. In the end, Usyk versus Benavidez at heavyweight would attract massive attention, but competitively, it strongly favors Usyk.
The smarter path is keeping Benavidez in divisions where his speed, output, and skill can truly dominate.
Why I say Turkey Benavidez is because Turkey Al-Sheikh has mentioned Dave Benavidez before over the years and has suggested very bizarre fights for him with very bizarre weight divisions and weight stipulations. For example, it was a couple of years ago, it might have been 2 years ago now, Turkey was saying that he'd love to see David Benavidez versus Terence Crawford, who at the time, I don't even think Crawford had beaten, or maybe he had, but it was roughly around about the time where he was fighting at 154 pounds against Israel Madrimov. And he was saying he'd like to see Crawford Benavidez at 160 pounds. Bearing in mind, the Benavidez has never weighed in at 160 pounds. His career super middleweight, and a big super middleweight at that. So it's not the first, and again, like imagine 2 years ago you're saying I want to see Benavidez versus Crawford at middleweight. Never gonna happen. 2 years later, I want to see Usyk versus Benavidez at heavyweight. It is a bit, it does be a bit strange from Turkey at times when he mentions fights he wants to see and the weight divisions and stuff like that. It's not the first time he's done that with Benavidez.
In the end, Oleksandr Usyk versus David Benavidez at heavyweight is a blockbuster idea, but reality tells a different story. Usyk's elite IQ, movement, and heavyweight experience give him a clear advantage, while Benavidez's speed and volume shine best at lower weights. So the real question is, dream fight or one-sided reality? Eyes fire. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more boxing analysis. Drop your opinion in the comments. Who would you pick? Stay tuned. We'll catch you in the next one.